we will go ahead. Doug, are we live? Good. All right. We will call to order the County Operations Committee meeting for Tuesday, March 26th. The first action items are to approve the minutes of the January 23rd and the February 27th meetings. So I need a motion. Rob and Neil is a second. Any changes, comments, adjustments? Okay. I saw a spelling typo, but it's a minor. All in favor of the minutes with the sign of aye?
Aye.
Okay. Those opposed with the nay? All right, so that passes.
Motion for member assessor and failed to.
Okay. So we got a, I've got some. Okay. We can do the motion for the, okay. Again, motion, so Brian Elsasser and Jamie Phelan can join remotely. Okay, Dr. Blair is the first. Second. The second. All in favor of them joining us via audio, sign of aye?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right. Get them on here. Hey, Brian. Are you even tied into the audio in the room or in the future?
I can try and.
Don't worry about today, but
Yeah.
just for a future, since we put audio in, I'll try to leverage it. All right, Danny and Brian, welcome. We already took the action to approve the minutes, so apologize we missed you guys on that. Doug, were you going to share something? Or, okay. All right, with that, we do have the sign-in sheet going around here for attendance, so if you haven't signed that, please do. We have two informational items, the normal ones, the workforce report and the vacancy reports. I'll pass it over to Administrator Sorrell for both of those.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The workforce dashboard's on page 5 of your packet. Is activity through the end of February of this year. Top third is applicants and hires. Middle third is workforce demographics and diversity. And bottom third are separations. Happy to answer any questions by the committee. Happy to have either HR Director Loftus or Chief DEI Officer Allen expand upon any of the data you see in the report.
And we'll start with questions from the committee. I guess I'll open it up to HR. Any additional comments? Okay, how about from the DEI, Mr. Allen? Anything you want to highlight beyond what's here?
No, I just think that overall, you see the opportunities that we have specifically when I look at the age demographics. We have a very mature workforce here with the Peoria County government, which I think demonstrates that we are a place where more mature residents desire to work, which I think is great. But when we talk about succession planning and filling positions in the future as our mature employees start heading towards retirement, we need to make sure that we are able to fill those roles. So that is an opportunity that I know myself and our human resources will need to intentionally look into as we need to fill these positions as we're coming.
Workforce continuity and making sure we have quality people in positions so we have a sustainable workforce is key. So appreciate your efforts and HR's efforts to do that along with all of the other department managers. No questions on the workforce dashboard. We'll move to the vacancies report.
Mr. Chairman, that's found on page 6 of your packet. You can see this is, again, for the period ending February 29th of this year. You can see that we have at that point in time there were 80.85 budgeted full-time equivalents that were vacant across various departments. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the committee on this report? Just as a reminder, this was a report we had about a year ago, just trying to track how we're doing with fills and vacancies. I think it's been, thank you, Angela, for putting it together. It's well set and refined as far as how it's laid out. So suggest that we consider continuing this and monitoring as we go. I don't have any other inputs unless anyone else wants to share comments. Okay. With that, we have 2 action items in resolution. We'll take the first one now, and then the second one ties to executive session, so we'll go to executive, and then we'll come back out and we'll take an action on the second resolution after executive. So I need a motion to put the National Associations of Counties Public Promise Savvy Tool resolution on the table. Ms. Williams and Dr. Blair is a second. I will turn this over to Shauna. She's got a great message for us here.
Okay, so we're really excited to have the opportunity to partner with NACO. As you know from the event briefing, I'm going to kind of give a high-level overview, and then if you have any questions, definitely let me know. They have, it's called the Savvy Tool. They have, it's called their Savvy Tool, and what that is it is a tool that allows employees to see if they qualify for student loan forgiveness, or if it determines that they do, then it helps them go through the application and the tracking process. So roughly on average, any employer can assume that they have about a third of their employee base with some form of student loan debt, whether that's their own personal loans or maybe they have a loan on behalf of their child, whatever. So with that, about 90, let me back up. So employees who work in the nonprofit sector or the public sector can qualify for student loan forgiveness through a number of different federal programs. The piece that is really key is it has to be a federally held student loan. It cannot be a private student loan. It has to be federally held. So with that, what they have found, and NACO started doing some research, is that 90% of applications are denied on the first attempt, usually because of a technicality or something wrong with the application in the application process. And so they identified, well, we need to come up and find some way to reduce that. So they created the Savvy Tool, and that has now reduced and improved the process to where now 50% of applications are approved on the first go around. So what they're doing is they're reaching out to their member counties and offering an opportunity to participate in this tool program. So basically there's 2 steps. The first is any employee can log in for free and just look to see if their loan qualifies for either total student loan forgiveness or a reduction in their student loan payments. The second component then takes them through that process. So in order to qualify, you have to be a nonprofit or public sector employee. You have to make 120 payments on your federally held student loan. And the 3-year pause that happened during COVID, that counts towards that 120 payment threshold. So that is a benefit to employees as well. Then if they determine through the free side of the tool that yes, they qualify, then they can use the tool to actually go through the application process. It allows them tracking of where the loan is at in the process of approval. If there's any follow-up questions, things like that, they can reach out through that tool. The benefit for us as an organization as well, not only for recruitment and retention purposes, is it will streamline HR's component of that process. So we currently have to verify employment if somebody has a student loan that they're applying for forgiveness. We don't get that many that come up through our office, quite honestly, because I think people either don't know about the programs or they just don't know if they qualify, so this will help with that as well. But then what this will do is it will streamline our verification process upstairs in that everything comes through electronically through the portal that we have as the employer. And so we're not having to deal with all the paper, make appointments with employees, that type of thing. We'll just, as part of the process, we'll get it through us, and we can go in and approve that. So we're excited about that opportunity as well. Also, as the employer, we will receive a dashboard. So this is Hennepin County. I think they were the pilot program, right? Hennepin County in Minnesota. And this is their dashboard. They're a much larger organization than we are, but they've had great success as well. So, you can't see from this angle. Oh, thank you. So as you can see, 58 in the upper left-hand corner, that's how many users. They had 406 people register, and then they have 58 that are currently going through that application process. They had 11.6 million in student loan debt that was applied for, or that's what they're managing. And with an average of $50,000 in loan forgiveness for their employees, or $142 a month in savings, because again, it may not be total forgiveness, it may be a reduction. So of that 11.6 million, 7.7 is projected complete forgiveness. So they're really excited about that, and then we'll get some graphs, we'll have a dashboard very similar to this as the employer where we can track. So for us, when we estimate about a third of our workforce, that's about 200 employees. And the fee for the initial calculator is free, but if they determine that they qualify and then want to go through the approval and tracking process, it is $150 per user per year. So in the agenda briefing, we're recommending a 2-year contract with NACO. And for those that have loan forgiveness, that's it. They'll get it once, they'll get through the process and it'll be done. For those that receive reductions, there's annual recertifications that they will have to do, and the program will continue to help them track and do that. And so we're just really excited to partner with them, should you approve it, and see if we can, again, use this as a good recruitment and retention tool as well. So I can answer any questions. Scott, if I miss anything.
Any questions from the committee? This appears to be a really good offering for the employees. There's funds out there, there's forgiveness out there available. Our employees should be taking advantage of seeing what applies to them. There should be another advantage for employees to work for Peoria County. So with that, it's $30,000 asked per year for 2 years. So ask one more time, any other questions? Jennifer?
So you'd indicated it would be a third of our,
I'm sorry.
you indicated you're guessing about a third of our workforce to be eligible? Or Jerry?
To have student loans.
Okay,
And so then this will be to allow them to go in to see if the loan that
See
they
if they're
have qualifies, and if it does, then they can carry on through the process.
so then the 58 users, that's who was eligible of their 406?
That's who they currently had. They've been using this for a little while, so they saw an initial jump, and then this is kind of how it's filtered down. With it.
So Hennepin is Minneapolis, is the county seat. They have a couple thousand, or several thousand employees. And this screenshot is from roughly 5 weeks after their launch. So pretty significant uptake just in the first 5 weeks after they launched the program.
And how would we promote this then to the employees, or what is the plan to communicate this opportunity?
So a couple different things. Obviously, we put it in the employee newsletter. We also have an HR benefits email line that shoots HR communications out to employees. So we'll be utilizing that. I'm sure through some lunch and learns and things like that, we'll be able to host some opportunities there and things like that. So,
Will it be used for recruitment purposes at all?
Jody currently, that's attorneys know, because the forgiveness programs are not new. It's just trying to get the word out. So I would say she's pretty aggressive in her office about letting employees and new hires know about that. We would be definitely in the new hire packet put information about that, but in terms of recruitment, that would be something that we would have information we could use at job fairs and things like that as well.
The 30,000 is based off of if a third of our employees take it up on it, correct? Or is that the minimum amount? And then it's
That was not to
150.
exceed, because we really don't
Right.
know. So we just use that, a third, which is $200 and $150 each
Okay, so it'll
So
just
it's
be
probably
150
less.
times however many people do the premium.
per each.
Okay.
Is this program competitive compared to what other companies or businesses or organizations are offering?
So we are getting a discount through NACO, as being a NACO member county through this tool. Did not really go out for.
Well, no, I mean more like from a recruitment standpoint.
Oh, I see.
You know, so if you're recruiting and you're utilizing this as hey, look at what we have. Are other places offering something similar to this? Just to make sure that we stack up a little
Sure.
bit higher than them?
I don't know the answer to that. I know, if you're a public sector or, nonprofit, all employees could qualify for the federal programs. This is to help them learn about the federal programs and get them through that process a little more successfully than if they were doing it on their own. I don't know if anybody else locally is using.
So,
I work for a nonprofit and they have not done anything to promote this, right? Even though we have many, many people who could be eligible.
so
Yeah.
in the public sector, I'm not aware of U.S. Conference of Mayors or National League of Cities having some type of similar program, which are they're not necessarily partners, but they're not competitors of NACO, but they're kind of on the same playing field. If the board adopts this, we'll be an early adopter county from NACO's program. So we'll be, we won't be the second county in, but we'll be somewhere in the first 10, I think, counties in. So there probably aren't a whole lot of other counties doing this either right now. So definitely is an opportunity for us to treat that as an advantage for us.
Thank you.
Especially if you are, someone looking at employment with the county versus employment with the private sector, right? Because they would not qualify for that loan forgiveness at a private sector employer. So that's something that we want to make sure that we're communicating.
Good questions, appreciate that. Any other questions, just to make sure we're clear? Here is John.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Elsasser?
Well, I certainly support helping everybody apply and paying the $150, but maybe it's not even worth messing around with, but I think we should get reimbursed if they are successful. So that's just my humble opinion. But like I said, maybe it's not even worth messing around with that. If they're not successful, I would not want them to reimburse us. So.
I mean, I hear the comments. I personally think that, when you say reimburse, you mean if the employee gets the loan forgiveness, that they would pay us back the $150 a year to use it.
Yes.
I think,
Yeah, that'd be correct.
hear your comments. At this point, that wasn't the proposal we had out on the table. I don't know if any of the other committee members have a,
This is a lot cheaper than losing an employee, right? Just in terms of retention, $150 an employee is not a lot.
I tend to think our $30,000 not to exceed is probably a high number, but that's okay. We're only, as Rob asked the question, we only pay when a user gets to the second step. The first step is they can go and inquire. There's no cost to them. Do they even qualify? That's a yes, no. If they qualify and they decide they want to use the tool to apply, fill out the applications, do all of that, that's when we would see a fee of the $150. So I think it's very, very cost effective at this point for our employees, the benefit they would get. But thank you for the input. Mr. Phelan, any comments or questions from you? So I'll ask for a vote. All in favor with the sign of aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed with the sign of nay. All right, that passes. As mentioned earlier, we have an executive session for two items, labor relations and workers' compensation. So I need a motion to move into executive session for those two topics. Dr. Blair and Ms. Ellingson Rose. And all in favor with the sign of aye?
Aye.
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 Those opposed with the nay. All right, so for executive.